Hey everyone, it's the Snowman. Welcome to Retro Rock Review. It's a noodle series I'm going to do where I'm going to go through an older album and give my review on it. So these should be short, hopefully not too long. And the first one we're going to talk about this time is George Harrison, All Things Must Pass. I have never really listened to the Beatles solo stuff. I'm a Beatles fan. I have a few of their albums and stuff. But the solo stuff, I've never really bought anything. I mean, yeah, I've heard some Wing stuff and the Paul McCartney stuff. I've heard some Lennon stuff. I don't think I've ever heard any really Ringo Star stuff. And George, I never explored either because my first recollection of his solo stuff was from the 80s. And I think it was I've Got My Mind Set on You. And I just, sorry, but I hate that song with a passion. So it never made me want to go back and listen to it. But over on the site tooloudtooldmusic.com, I did a little series where it was called You Pick It, and I would put 5 albums on there. And one of the albums was always going to be like a classic album. And I put George Harrison's solo album on that, not knowing at the time it was a 3 LP set and really long. Uh, but that got voted in, and everybody wanted that was the most popular one for me to review. And so I did. And when I listened to that album, and I listened to it a lot, I really fell in love with it. So after I wrote the review, I was over at Noble Records and going through their stack. And then there was this beauty that was in there. It is I don't know if it's an original, but it is old. Um, my guess, it's actually from Dylan's personal collection. So I'm kind of guessing it's probably an early pressing. Here is the inside. You can see the song listing on the one side, it's blank on the other, and then there's nothing on the back. But included in it was the actual poster. And I'm going to be really careful and see if I can get this without damaging it, because I don't think I've ever opened it. So here is the poster. It's just darked out here of George Harrison that was included in the box set. There were, like I said, 3 vinyl. So we've got the first one, and then it's just got the songs on it, nothing real fancy. Um, it's got the Apple logo on it. Um, the second LP, same thing, just a different color, also with the Apple. And then the last one, a little different. It's the Apple Jam, and it's got all the instrumentals. And the logo's different on here. So they've got the Apple stuff, but in the Apple Jam jar. Uh, Everything is clean. I mean, this is fantastic shape. I could have been happier to get such a great copy of the album, and I've listened to it a lot. Um, I guess what are we 24 now? So back in 2020, that was the 50th anniversary. They released this massive box set, different versions of it. And my brother-in-law got to actually work on that with Danny Harrison and stuff. So he got to listen to a lot of really cool stuff and help prepare that box set and stuff. So that was really cool. And if you go to his house, he's got one of those big box sets there. I would really love to get my hands on that one. So that made me want to listen to it too. The album came back out on November 27th, 1970. It was his first solo album after the band broke up. And he had a lot of guests. He had John Lennon, he had Ringo Starr, but there was no Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney wasn't on it. But there were so many other great guests like Peter Frampton, Ginger Baker, Yoko Ono, Eric Clapton, Gary Wright, Billy Preston, and a bunch more. Ended up selling, I think, over 7 million copies in the US, so not a bad start. And in my opinion, I don't even, I mean, I haven't listened to all the other solo albums, but I don't know how they'll top this album. Um, if you go through the songs and stuff, if we start with the first one, the opening track is I'd Have You Anytime. It was written by Bob Dylan, well, with Bob Dylan while they were at Woodstock. And it's a great folksy kind of opener to it. Then it comes in with My Sweet Lord. And I noticed, wait a second, I know that song. So I did know that song before I actually listened to the album. I was surprised. and it's really great. It's got this church-like feel, lots of good harmonies, and that chorus is really stunning. I really like that. And there's this Hare Krishna part to it too that's really cool. But my favorite track on there is Wah Wah or Wah Wah, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of a fun track, very catchy, but it's a dig at Paul apparently, and that kind of makes me like it even better. Musically, there's just so much going on with horns and percussion, and the guitar works incredible. And every time I listen to it, there's something new I think I pick up on it. And the final track on the first side is Isn't It a Pity? And it's version one, and it's 7 minutes long. It's a beautiful, beautiful masterpiece of a song. And it's kind of about the breakup of the Beatles and that relationship and that bond. So, really great song. Just surprisingly, I was really stunned by that one. Flip it over and it kicks off with What Is Life? And that opening guitar riff is just killer. It really is. It's upbeat rock song. It reminds me of like the Beatles when they were rocking out and having fun. So that is kind of why I like that one. The next one was written by Bob Dylan. It was called If Not For You. It actually kind of sounds like the Traveling Wilburys. Surprise, surprise. I mean, they were both in the Wilburys. And I think it would have fit perfect on one of those albums. Just great, great tune. If you like the Wilburys sound, you'll love that one. Then George goes a little country. Not that the Wilburys really kind of weren't, with Behind That Locked Door. And it kind of proves there's like not much he can't do. He's that versatile. There's an organ sound, which is really great. And I found out it was about his friend, uh, Dylan, and the elusiveness of that person. It was it's an impactful song once you kind of know the story behind it. Then the tempo kicks up with the next one. It's "Let It Down," and it's a love song. Um, it's kind of sensual and kind of a little sexy, I guess, if you want to say that. Run of the Mill is up next. It closes off the first LP, and it's definitely not what the title says. It's not a run of the mill song. It sounds like the band. And I found out it was about McCartney as well. So no wonder McCartney wasn't on this album because there's a lot of tracks that I guess aren't that flattering to him. The second LP, this one, opens off with Beware of Darkness, and it is a very dark song, very spiritual at the same time. It seems like it's a real personal song to him. And I like that. Apple Scruff is next. It's an ode to the Super Beatles fans. And I like how it's a whole Bob Dylan vibe, even got that harmonica in there that I like. So, really, really good. Next is Ballad of Sir Frankie Crisp's Let It Roll. It's got some great reverb and tambourines in it. It gives this nice little touch. It feels a little dainty and delicate, if that makes sense. When you hear it, let me know. Waiting on You is another gospel type church song. Very uplifting, very up tempo. It kind of gets you moving, swinging your arms, praising the altar of George. It's really, really a great, great tune. The title track is then the last one on side C. It slows things down and brings it back to that kind of band folky sound of the band. It's actually quite nice. I like that one. Um, then we go to I Dig Love when you flip it over. It's more of a soulful R&B track. Um, it's a little bit of rock. It's real simple lyrically, but it's another track that's real contagious and catchy, and it's kind of a fun song. Um, you'll actually like that one. I mean, you'll be digging it by the end of it. Art of Dying is also on there. It's kind of a disco song, and this was the 70s, so they didn't really have disco. But it's an awesome track. It makes you want to move, and that's why I kind of say it's kind of like disco song, more of a dance song. And we had Isn't It a Pity version one on the first one. Now we have version two here. This one is not 7 minutes long, it's only 4 minutes, but it's just as marvelous as the first one, just a shortened down version. Um, I really like that. The second one ends with Hear Me Lord. It's another gospel type song on here. It's more amazing guitar work, some great, beautiful piano, and the harmonies are to die for. Really great. So these first two albums are just unbelievable. I can never get enough of this album. And then you have the third vinyl on here, the Apple Jam. Um, the it was I don't know, it was just really smart on their part to record everything that they did. This third album is all instrumental, and it's just jams and things like that. The first track is called Out of the Blue, and it's just a jam session, basically. It's 11 minutes of just some of the finest musicianship, and it's just unbelievable. It's kind of very bluesy. Just sit back, put your headphones on, and enjoy that one because you will. The next song is really quick. It's only 50 seconds. It's called It's Johnny's Birthday, and it's sung to the Cliff Richard song Congratulations. It was for Mr. John Lennon. It was his 30th birthday, and they were all just playing around at the time. Really cool. So glad they got that on tape. Plug Me In is the next one. It's got George Harrison on it, of course. It's got Eric Clapton and Dave Mason. Each of them, it sounds like, I think, are getting a guitar solo. So it's just a hard rock instrumental track, and it just shows you the brilliance of all three of the players. Flip it over, and we've got I Remember Jeep. That one has Clapton, Billy Preston is on piano, and on bass is some guy named Ginger Baker. And man, it is really cool. It's Jeep is Clapton's dog, and this song is about that. John Lennon and Yoko Ono are on this one, and they do these hand claps. It's a mixture of kind of jazz and blues and rock, and just a great fusion of all of that. It's really awesome. The final track is "Thanks for the Pepperoni." Thanks to it's from a Lenny Bruce comedy skit. It has Harrison, Clapton, Mason, and I think Chuck Berry and stuff. It's kind of that old school rock stuff. It's pure roll over Beethoven, kind of just fun. Just an amazing set of instrumental tracks that he threw on at the end. So, man, talk about an impressive debut solo album. It is unbelievable. I can't recommend this one enough. I gave it a 5 out of 5 when I did my review, which is no surprise because there's not a bad song on it. And there's just so much to hear. Great headphone song or headphone album. So pop that on and that. Give it a listen. It's George Harrison. All things must pass. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the Retro Rock Review.